Back at it on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel for a little UFC action. UFC Fight Night Blanchfield versus Barber. I know it's just a straight banger right here when you hear that. We got 10 fights on the card. And like I said, it's better than not having any fights on a Saturday. So I will take even 10. That means there's 10 winners we can potentially pick. That's the goal today, boys. I'm going to try and go undefeated, picking all 10 winners. JBC, wouldn't that be nice?
Winners are always nice. I got a big win last night, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Ooh, what'd you take down? What was it?
100K on FanDuel.
100K on was it the Lotto tournament? Was it the big
dog
high
tournament? Stakes, the $333.
Okay, 333. Very nice. Very nice.
Shohei Ohtani and the Rangers.
Oh, the Rangers crushed. Yeah, that's definitely what got it done. That's nice. Who was the pitch? Who was the pitcher? Who's your pitcher?
I had Brian Wu. It still won.
So. You had Wu?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That's even better.
Yeah, it was. And it wasn't even really that close. I won by like 15 points. Just Marcus Semien was like 0.2 and had like 50. So
yeah,
that's what did
it. Because he's been terrible all year, and he finally had like a monster game. So that's sick. That's an awesome win right there. Your pitcher sucks or not great, and on FanDuel it's even more because you only get one pitcher, obviously, as opposed to two on DK. So like you really are hoping for a good score from your pitcher, and to not get it and to still win feels definitely pretty good, I'm sure. But all right, congrats to you on your 100K. Not your first 100K, so I don't have to say it too many times. But Dan, how you doing here?
I'm doing great, man. It's like the matchmakers knew it was my birthday today. We get Blanchfield Barber 5 rounds into Apex. I'm living right now. This is great. I get to talk up Alice Ardoline to kick off the show. Like I'm swimming in it, man. This is a fucking beautiful day.
Yeah, we start off with Ardoline and we finish with Macy Barber and Aaron Blanchfield. So it's a perfect card from start to finish. And we get to talk about these things. We weren't on last week, but I do just want to talk it up because the week before, man, we smashed some bets. I know Big T had a big week. He posted like a massive parlay. I gave out the Gabe Green plus 900 sub on the show. I know some people hit it because they messaged me about it. And there were a few other bets that I'm just blanking on because I'm kind of blanking on a lot of that card. But it was definitely a big card for Run Pure Sports. JBC, do you remember anything about that card? Do you have any big wins?
I don't remember shit about that card.
Yeah, I figured. I figured. I just remembered Gabe Green because it helped me win a few $1,000.
The main event happens, I typically am not coherent.
Morales optimal at 9,700.
Yes, I did jam in Morales, so that was that saved me.
That saved you. Okay. I was gonna say I couldn't remember the tape, but you were definitely all over Morales.
Yeah, and he was only like 30% owned, and I like shoved all in. Yeah, that was that. It was a situation where it was like okay, and then the Morales thing kind of put it over the top.
We had the cancellation, Bellato with his herpes.
Oh yes, the Bellato cancellation was fucked up. Especially because he said it was.
Who is he fighting? Because I had that fighter,
Paul Craig.
Oh,
we all got screwed by the Paul Craig thing.
Now I remember this now because not only did I get screwed, I had this crazy round robin parlay, right? And I had like Gabe Green by sub, and I had a few other like higher like odds things that ended up winning. So the last one left was Paul Craig by submission at like plus 650. So I was like, if he won by submission, I was going to win like 35 grand on DraftKings just betting. And then it obviously the fight got canceled. So I just got paid out like the odds went down and I just got paid out for like the 3 legs or whatever.
The best part about that is you'll know exactly what would have happened because they're going to fight eventually.
I know. I know. It's just annoying. If he wins by sub, I'm going to be so mad.
You're going to be pissed.
I'm going to be so mad right now. That just pissed me off for reminding myself about the Paul Craig thing. That's annoying to me, but whatever. That's all right. Oh, and it's Dan's birthday. And then says, happy B-Day, Dan. How old?
I'm 22 years old today. Can you believe
22?
Yeah, I'm just a baby.
No fucking way. Are you really 22? Zero shot.
Dan is older than me.
Wait, Dan's older than JVC?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but who gets carded when we go out?
That's true. Every time we go out, I get carded and he does not.
No, I'm 37 today.
That's insane. I can't believe that. Holy shit, you're older than him. So 37. Yeah, you got me too. I'm 33. So all right, Dan's the oldest on the show. Damn, didn't even know that. You're the old.
That's brutal. I didn't realize that. You've ruined my fucking day, man.
It was going so well.
I mean, that's just the way it goes.
What Adrian get you for a birthday gift? Alice Artelian OnlyFans subscription?
Yeah, that. I got a delivery of some like sick vegan donuts this morning with some coffee. I've got gifts arriving all day. Apparently, they've been ordered and they're all on the way. So
very nice. It's like Valentine's Day.
Yeah, they should be vegan donuts. Is that what you said? Vegan donuts?
Yeah.
Vegan donuts are good.
I've never had one of those. They're good?
It's like the same exact thing.
Yeah.
like most vegan substitutes, it's like the same exact thing.
Do you feel like absolute dog shit after you have one, or do you feel like a little better?
No, I feel awesome.
I always feel better after I have vegan shit as opposed to regular stuff. So I spend a weekend with Dan and we eat nothing but vegan stuff and I feel better. And then I come back and I eat a Baconator.
Start getting McDonald's delivery again.
Yeah, you just could go right back to it. All right, well, happy birthday to you. Chat saying happy birthday. There we go. All right, let's get into this fight card though, because Dan's already brought up. Well, I think JBC brought Alice Artelian's name up too a little bit, but you know, Dan is definitely buying an OnlyFans subscription to her shit if she wins him a boatload of money. I can tell you that right now. That's gonna be the first thing he buys with that Artelian money. But he likes her here. Alice Artelian, 6,900 on DraftKings. Dos Santos, 9,300. But the line has definitely moved in favor of Alice Artelian here. And I assume that's one of the things tempting you on the dog in this spot, Dan.
For sure. I just think she's got some win equity here. Obviously, the finishing number at plus 900 is absolutely awful. But at 6,900, you know, even just a decision, like a competitive, completely stand-up decision could score enough to hit the optimal on a short slate. You know, there's dogs that I like down here, but they're all pretty shaky. So there are definitely worlds where Artelian doesn't really put up a great score to win, but still hits the optimal. And I just like that she's aggressive, man. Like, she's terrible, but she comes forward, she swings. Dos Santos, really not anything to write home about. I thought that the line was super wide when it came out, and now it's, you know, come kind of crashing back down to earth. So I'm in on Artelian. I have it projected for like 17% ownership, which I guess has a lot to do with the fact that it's a short slate, but I could definitely see her coming in under on that. And I'm going to have like low 20s on Artelian. Dos Santos, I've got around like 25%. Like, she's also just a terrible fantasy producer. She's 9,300, which is way too expensive for what she typically produces, but she's going to be the lowest owned option up in that upper range. Artelian is also terrible. You know, there's tons of variance here. We see it all the time. Women's MMA with the lenient scoring. You could get a smash score out of either of these ladies just randomly. And it's a spot that I want to be on a little bit over the field, especially on a short slate.
Yeah, it makes sense. JBC, obviously a fight that I assume from an ownership standpoint on both girls is going to be lower owned on a 10-fight card. And I know me and Dan have talked about this every single time we get these low-level women's fights. You never know what can happen. The scoring when it comes to the women's fights in general, sometimes the significant strike numbers and weird finishes. And we've seen some weird finishes with these low-level women's MMA fights recently on some of these cards. So do you think we could see something like that here?
I do. And, you know, I want to get over on both of them for all the same reasons that Dan described. You know, Dos Santos is so overpriced but you don't need the salary because of Billy Ray Goff. So it's like, there's no reason not to play her a good amount because it's not restrictive at all. So I'm definitely going to end up over the field on both girls. Probably Dos Santos more, just because down at the bottom, I kind of like some other guys a little better than Arlene. But Dan's right. Like, she could score 50 and be optimal. So, well, on a 10-fight slate. So I'm definitely going to be over on her too. I did bet on Arlene at plus 194. I think that's come down a little, but I think it's a coin flip.
Yeah, so I'm going to be on the opposite side of you guys from the fight standpoint. I like Dos Santos here. Dan looks like a vegan Logan Paul. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
Logan Paul might be vegan. We don't know.
Yeah, you never know. Could be vegan. I doubt it though. Look at him. He definitely puts down some stuff.
He is pretty. He looks like he puts down some. Maybe some steroids.
Bro, I could look like that if I did steroids too. You know what I'm saying?
Steroids are vegan.
Steroids are vegan. Yeah. But back to this fight here. So Dos Santos and Arlene, I think this fight is going to play out to where both these girls are going to have chances. And in both of their last few fights, if you look at who they fought, they're fighting girls that want to be at space. Right. So like they're kind of forcing pressure and these girls are circling away. Dos Santos fought Tomar last time out. All she was doing was those damn side push kicks, pretty much just keeping her away. Whenever Dos Santos got her backed up against the cage, though, she actually put together some really nice combinations, and that was where she put in work. But it was those side kicks and that constant motion circling that was kind of making it so we didn't have any of those like car crashes. Like these two girls are going to car crash. They're going to go at it. They're going to push a pace, I think, because neither of them are good. I just think Dos Santos is a little more dangerous, whether the fight plays out on the ground or on the feet. So I like her here. I bet her at plus 450 inside the distance. I think that number is a pretty solid number. Don't forget Melissa Mullins, who is a karate type, keep you at distance, space type of fighter, like point fighter, almost finished Alice Arlene. They kind of stopped the fight because of a low blow, but it wasn't. It's like, so I do think Dos Santos has a pretty good shot to finish Arlene, who's not good. And I do think this fight could score well at low ownership for DFS. So I like the fight for DFS. And I like Dos Santos because I think more people will be able to talk themselves into the dog at 6,900 as opposed to the favorite at 93. But JBC already touched on the fact that it doesn't matter because we have good mid-tier fighters to make it to where the salary is not that big of a deal. And the other expensive fighters on this card are not amazing by any means. They have better inside the distance numbers, most of them, but they're still not the greatest. On a different card, they'd be the worst, upper 8 and 9K options on a card. So I like this fight here. I'm going to be heavy on the Dos Santos side. And like I said, I bet her at plus 450. So I like a finish here, take my shot on a finish. So, all right, Dan, you said the ownership, right? Like low 20s for both these girls?
Mute.
You're on mute.
Thanks. Santos is coming in at 19. Arlene I have at 17, which again feels a little high, but short slate. So
I feel like Arlene could get more, but Dos Santos I think won't get over 20.
Yeah, I think if anything, people will start to talk themselves into the Arlene side. Just with the line kind of coming down on her side and everything like that. And Dos Santos looks like the one that's mispriced, right? Everyone looks at like the misprice. Like Dos Santos is the one out of these two fighters that looks mispriced. So I think people will struggle with getting up to the 93. But that's Dos Santos, Arlene, first fight on the card. Let's go to the next fight here. We got Oki 8,900 versus Michael Ashwell. Look at that fight. 6,800 for Ashwell. Dan, I know you're laughing here. Did I say his name properly?
Aswell? I don't think so, but
I think it was as well.
I think it's probably Aswell.
Is it as well? I
like if you split the words up.
I would have
I like
Aswell.
Aswell better. It kind of goes better.
It probably is Aswell.
Aswell. We can go with this.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it right now. I like Oki in this fight. I think Aswell has very little chance in this fight because he doesn't have any power. He has a good straight 1-1-2, but there's not much power to deter Oki from kind of just stalking him. And Oki's one of those guys that's pretty defensively sound on the feet when it comes to like being in and out of range. So if he can do that, I think he finds a good shot and puts him out after, probably in the second round. So I'll go Oki second round finish. I'm not a big fan of Aswell. He kind of fights like he's in a boxing match, but it's mixed martial arts and people can kick and grapple you. And he doesn't really do a ton else. He just likes to really box. If you look at his Contender Series fight, he had 129 significant strikes. 107 of them were head strikes. Two kicks in the entire fight. 2 kicks.
So he's shitty Peter Yan.
Yeah, I mean, very shitty. Don't even put those 2 names together. That's how shady it is. But Dan, what are we doing here with this fight?
Yeah, really shitty. It's a really tough spot for Aswell coming in here, man. Late notice because obviously there was some midweek shuffling. Makes Oki a bit of a value, but I mean, I'll mix Aswell in for some randomness, but he's also coming up a weight class. So I think my major issue with him is he's going to be giving up a lot of size and physicality, and I think that's going to cause a lot of problems for him. Oki, he's pretty much knockout or bust option here. Plus 130 also for the price isn't the strongest inside the distance line, but like it's relatively good for this slate. Yeah, if this fight extends at all, he's gonna bust, but you are getting the ownership discount on Oki down from Reese. And not that it's really even a one or the other. Like you can play Oki, Reese, and Blanchfield all together and still make decent lineups. So, to JBC's earlier point, salary isn't really an issue on this slate. So I like Oki a lot. I'm probably going to get to more of him than the field here. As well, I'm going to play about as much as the field just to cover myself, just to cover the randomness. And they're coming in at like, where's my ownership? Oki, I have at 34. As well, I have at 16. So I'll be over that on Oki, around that on Aswell.
Yeah, JVC Aswell in his last fight. I mean, he's much better at moving forward than he is backing up, and I just don't see how he's going to have Oki just backing up with just pretty much a jab or a 1-2 that's not very dangerous. It is a straight jab and 1-2, and it is nice, but it's not. He doesn't have a ton of power behind him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still think he's going to try, or he needs to try. Probably get him knocked the fuck out. So, I like Oki a lot. I bet Oki inside the distance at plus 150. I just don't really see a way that he's not going to get this finish, which is why the number is crazy to me that it's plus money. So I'm playing Oki like over 50%. He's my second highest, or I have him in golf about the same, but I'm playing Oki a ton. I like him over Reese, so that's where I'm going with this one.
It makes it a lot easier too for Oki that you don't have to worry about like the guy mixing in like takedowns, which he shouldn't have to worry about in this fight because it's not Aswell's game. So like that makes it even a better spot. I like the inside the distance number that you bet. Is that your best friend, your burner, JVC? What are we doing there?
I saw JVC typing away over there before that message.
Yeah, you saw that, right? He kind of moved to a different keyboard real quick. Yeah, I saw it too. But all right, there we go. Yeah, new stuff every day. Any bet you like, Dan, in this spot? Do you like the inside the distance for Oki? I kind of like that bet too at plus money.
Yeah, I like Oki inside the distance.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely going to be low on Aswell. So if he ends up being on the winner, I will definitely not win in this spot. Let's go to the next fight. A little more competitive spot here. We got Jordan Levitt, 8,700 for Levitt versus Kurt Holleybaugh at 7,500 for Hollybaugh. I think we're going to see this fight play out a lot on the ground here. Both guys love the jiu-jitsu stuff. Hollybaugh can't stop a takedown. I bet him last time out against Hernandez, and on the feet, he's the better guy on the feet. He's going to be the better guy on the feet in this matchup too. When he was moving forward, he was winning the exchanges against Hernandez, but the problem was when Hernandez decided, I'm just going to take this guy down, it was easy. He took him down easily, and he just controlled him from there, and I just can't trust him in this spot because I think Levitt has good enough takedowns to get this fight to the ground whenever he wants. And if that's the case, they're just going to be playing jiu-jitsu. And even though Levitt has been subbed by some, guys in the UFC, they're extremely high-level jiu-jitsu guys. And I don't think that's going to deter him from going to his jiu-jitsu here. So I think Levitt wins, probably a decision, and it might be boring as hell if it's just like one of those, he's laying on him pretty much for 3 rounds, which I could see happening. But I'm on the Levitt side. I think he wins a decision here. I hope there's a finish, but I do think it's probably a decision. JBC, what do you like?
I agree that I think it's a bad matchup for Hollibaugh, but you kind of have to play everybody down low if you want to mix it up correctly. So I'm definitely getting like 25% on Hollibaugh, but I'm playing Levitt like nearly 40. I think he could score even in a decision. If he starts racking takedowns, not that Hollibaugh is that great at getting up, but Levitt could find a finish on the ground or could rack up a bunch of takedowns. I like his upside here. I like him substantially more than the next 2 guys, Nascimento or Gamrot. I don't really like either of them nearly as much as Levitt, so I'm going to be playing quite a bit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Even a decision, like you said, if he gets 4 or 5 takedowns or something like that, that could easily happen. And
he's only plus 200 inside the distance. Like, it's a good number.
Well, it wouldn't shock me if one of these guys found a sub, because Hollibaugh has grappling too. So, he's going to go for it, and it could put him in a bad spot. So it wouldn't shock me if this fight did finish or something like that. But Dan, what do you see here in this spot? JBC likes Levitt. I definitely like Levitt as well.
I like Levitt also. I'm going to have a ton of him. I think a finish is definitely on the table. Domination on the mat is definitely on the table, given that Hollibaugh, can't stop a takedown and has pretty poor getup. The problem with Levitt for me is that the striking volume is never there. So even if he, wins a wrestling and grappling heavy decision at 8,700, he could still miss the optimal just because he doesn't rack up strikes at all.
Torres Finney.
What's that?
Torres Finney.
Yeah, it's like Torres Finney. So without a finish, he's likely dust. Hollibaugh on the other side, he might actually help Levitt just because he's so aggressive. It's going to be in a small apex cage. So while Levitt is generally like pretty content to, especially on the feet, kind of limit exchanges, he's not really going to have the luxury of doing that. So Hollibaugh could force the action, force him to fight a little bit more up in pace, makes me like him. It's just a really bad matchup for Hollibaugh. I'm actually going to be probably pretty light on Hollibaugh because he's coming in 25. I'm probably going to be closer to like 15.
Yeah. Do we like the inside the distance number plus 200?
You can take a shot, but I mean, I think it's a tough. It's not really a great matchup for Levitt to find a finish, I don't think, because Hollibaugh is like pretty tough to get out of there. He's only been submitted once in the last 5 years, and that was by Muhammad Makayev. So, I don't think Levitt's jiu-jitsu is quite up to that level, but it's definitely possible.
It's kind of crazy how Levitt is plus 200 and then Oki's only 150. Like,
Levitt's
that's what's throwing me off a little bit too. Is like I feel like the number should be kind of higher, honestly, for Levitt. But maybe it's just like this fight is going to be on the ground for long periods of the fight, so he's going to have long periods where he's going to be in advantageous positions to find a finish. Like, I guess. Because if you watch that Hernandez fight, I mean, whenever he decided he was going for a takedown, he got it. Like, easily, too. It wasn't even, there was not much defense to those takedowns. So, yeah. Well, All right. I don't want to talk myself too far into it, but the inside the distance number, the more and more I look at it, maybe I might sprinkle a little bit on there. Anything else in this fight, boys? Or can we move on?
Let's move on.
All right, let's do it. One of my favorite fights on the card. We got João Filho plus 102 on DK Sportsbook here, 7,600 on DraftKings versus Alan Nascimento. Nascimento minus 122 on DK Sportsbook, and he is, I think, 8,600 on DK. Both guys have great offensive grappling, great ground game, obviously. I like Filho a little bit more on the feet. I think he definitely throws with power. A lot of his shots are pretty much power shots, kind of loads up, puts everything into it, even though he's kind of a smaller guy. Nascimento, he's got solid kicks. Hands are not as good, but he does have sneaky kicks, and we'll use those to kind of set up and get into his grappling here. I think this is another fight, though. I think we could see a ton of like time on the mat with these two guys, and both guys are very dangerous. Obviously, Charles Oliveira, I'm pretty sure he was in his corner last time out, Nascimento. So obviously, getting some help from him. I think this fight plays out on the mat for the majority of it. And I think Filho could find a finish. He should have found the finish against Makayev. I'll keep talking about it because that was one of the craziest knee bars that I've ever seen that no one's tapped to. And that was in the third round. So like this guy can find a finish even if it goes later into the fight. He showed he was tough in I think it was the last fight where Daniel Barres, or it was 2 fights ago, one or the other, where Daniel Barres had him dropped with a body shot, and he got back up twice and then ended up finding a finish. Guy's just tough. So I'm on the Filho side. That's what I'm betting. I know the line is kind of moving in his favor. JBC, what do you think with this fight?
This one's pretty simple. I'm on Filho. I think it's a knockout. Nascimento looked terrible on the scale, and he missed weight. And I was thinking the fight might get called off. It didn't. So I'm always going to go against that. I'm on Filho.
I love it. I bet the plus 225 inside the distance. I definitely like this inside the distance for this fighter. Cooked. Yeah, I'm with you. The only shot is a sub, and Filho is not the easiest guy to just sub. I know Makayev did it, but obviously undefeated fighter, so it's a little different. But I'm with you. I love him. Dan, can we make it 3 for 3 on Filho?
Yeah, I'm also on the Filho side. Nascimento is also coming off that long layoff, so the fact that he looks so bad on the scales and the line's moving away from him is ultra concerning. Filho's got more finishing upside than Nascimento. He's cheaper, so he's got more pads. He doesn't necessarily need it. He probably does need a finish, but he doesn't necessarily need one. Like Nascimento absolutely will need a finish at his price. There's appeal here because of the possibility of lots of wrestling and grappling exchanges, but a lot of times when you see grappler versus grappler, they stand and bang on the feet, or they just like straight up neutralize each other and nobody scores well, and it's just like a competitive low scoring decision. So all that's on the table. I'm obviously off Nascimento for all the things that we just said. I'm coming in heavier on Filho, but everything I just mentioned has me a little more hesitant. But we're lacking options down here, and Filho is one of the strongest options down among these dogs.
I don't know about easy money, but Philly likes easy money for Nascimento. M. Westlake's talking about Nascimento pulling out.
Yeah, I'm worried that he's going to pull out before the card starts.
I really hope that doesn't happen because I love Filho here. It's like one of my bigger bets. So yeah. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Nascimento fights off. I can see it.
Are you guys like, what do you think Nascimento's ownership is going to be, Dan?
I have him projected at like 27%.
So high.
Coming in way under that.
Yeah, I'm going to be way under that. Filho, what do you got him at? 30?
Like 33. Yeah. And I'll probably be around there. That's chalking. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to get to the field there.
I'm up to 40. I got 40.
The only thing I'm worried about is what M. Westlake said, and me just getting screwed like I did with the Paul Craig thing. I will just say, if you're like playing one lineup tonight, which I know a lot of people watching probably are playing like 1, 2, 3 lineups, like this is definitely one of those fights. I think it could very easily be optimal with Filio, but it could also be one of the highest risk fights because of Nascimento not looking good on the scales and what M. Westlake said about him pulling out.
Way to come in first, baby.
That's it. First or last, right? I like it. So I'm still going to play it, but just warning the people out there. Let's go to the next fight here. Zachary Reese at -205 versus Dusko Todorovic at +170 on DK Sportsbook here. 7K for Todorovic. Reese at 9,200. I'm going to be simple and quick here. I've never been a Zachary Reese fan. I bet against him a lot in his fights. The Cody Brundage fight was like the one where I was like, it was like this spot. He's like 90, he was like 9K or whatever. And I was like, I'm not playing him at 9K. I refuse to play Zachary Reese. And I know he's had some big scores. I think the Jose Medina fight was the only fight I actually played Zachary Reese. Every other fight, that's because he's a punching bag, though. Every other fight, I just can't do it with him. I'm not playing him here at this price tag. He's going to be one of the more popular fighters on the card, and I just can't do it. I'm going to be heavier on the dog in this spot, Todorovic here, and I do think he could find a finish +300 to win by KO. I think is a nice little prop bet. And I'm on the dog side. JBC, which side are you on in this fight? And what are you going to do with Zachary Reese at the ownership he's probably going to come in at?
Well, I think it's at least a 50% chance that Zachary Reese is optimal. Even though I'm betting on Todorovic, I don't. Because you don't need the salary again, you kind of have to play Reese some. It's not my favorite play in the world, but it is what it is. He's -185 to win inside the distance, so the odds he scores big are pretty high compared to everybody else. So I'm playing this fight almost all in. I've got 35% Todorovic and 55 on Reese-ish.
So you're going to be pretty high on this fight, period.
Yeah, I think we're getting a first-round knockout.
I could see it. Todorovic does feel like the king of the early knockouts here, one way or the other. So that's definitely in the cards here. Dan, what are you doing with this fight? I'm assuming both fighters are going to come in pretty highly owned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have all that much to add. JBC kind of nailed it. Reese, I've got a 42%. Todorovic is projected to be 20%. I'm going to be over on both of them. Like, someone's going to die. Someone's going to die early. Like, both of these guys are glass cannons. This is the exact type of matchup that you want to target for fantasy every time.
And for viewership.
Yes.
And
Todorovic, he's like probably the best leverage play on the slate. If not, he's one of the best leverage plays on the slate because we've seen Zachary's hilariously knocked out many times now.
He's also hilariously knocked other people out, including when I was in Louisville, he fucked me over by knocking the shit out of somebody. I can't remember who it was.
Was it Marquez?
Yes. Crisis.
That fucked me badly as well.
That was one of those fights too, where I think they were priced like 8K ish. They were both like 8K 7,900.
It was like a flip fight where Reese was priced as the favorite, but was the dog.
Yes. Yep. And then he came out there and just dusted him early.
It was like immediate. And I remember I was sitting right next to Tony, and I was just like, well, this card's over. And I went up to get a drink, like, fuck this.
Another one, please. Another one. Bring the whole bar. So definitely a good fight. I like the leverage call by Dan. And not much else to add. Good spot here. Are you so JBC, you're betting Todorovic, but you're going to be heavy on this fight. Did you bet inside the distance, or are you betting just the +170?
I took money line. I don't think that Reese is winning any kind of decision against anybody. So I think if it goes to decision, Todorovic will win. So I bet the money line.
All right, fair enough. Here, let's go to the next fight. This fight, we got Ketlen Vieira 8,200 versus Macy Chasson, 8K on DraftKings, but the line has flipped here heavy towards the Macy Chasson side, minus 130 now on DK Sportsbook here. I've seen it as high as minus 135. What's going on with this flip, Dan, and what are we doing with it? Are you all over Macy?
Just real quick, I've seen a couple questions about stacking fights because it's a short card. I'm not stacking any fights. I think if you want to stack a fight, the main event
is the only one
is viable, but I'm not doing it.
And this is a good question too with these shorter cards. If you're not stacking fights, are you guys gonna make it so you leave more money than normal on the table? Yeah. JBC, I know you're pretty tight when it comes to how much money you normally leave on a card, but like, what would be the most you could leave on this type of card?
I left 1,000 because it's not just that it's 10 fights, it's 10 fights and Billy Ray Goff is 8,300. So you don't want to straight eliminate lineups. The reason for me with 1,000 was so that I could have lineups where it was Billy Ray Goff as a direct sub for Ryan Dos Santos. So
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So you're like, because you think that Billy Ray could possibly outscore that entire range.
Correct. And I think he probably will. So
yeah,
that's what I did with that.
Interesting. Dan, anything else to add with the leaving salary? Do you kind of agree with JBC? Is that what you're leaving, or do you have a different number?
Yeah, I always have my salary floor at 4,900 pretty much.
49,000, got him.
That's what I mean, 49,000. Yeah. It's always at 49,000, and on a regular slate, like a bigger slate, I rarely get anything that's even near that. Like usually it's like 49.3 or higher.
So anyway. you're not changing anything when it comes to salary. You're just going to leave it the way it is. So yeah, I think 1,000's a good number here. I like that. And just to be clear, JBC, normally you're like 400, right? Like normally
I do 49,600 floor, but with the misprice in the middle, you have to. My ship wouldn't even run if I didn't drop it to 1,000.
Yeah, no, that
makes
sense.
To get in golf so much.
Yep. All right, back to this fight here, Chasson Vieira. Dan, I think I was talking to you here. What are we doing with this line flip? Are you all over Macy? I assume you're all over Macy.
I'm going to be playing a good amount of Macy, but it's really hard. She's going to be one of the higher owned fighters on the slate for obvious reasons. I just think her path, she's got back-to-back finishes, but she isn't really a super potent finisher to my mind. She's going to need a lot of wrestling and grappling success to score well here. And Ketlen Vieira, she's got really solid defensive grappling and really solid takedown defense. So I think it's like a tougher matchup than the field is really giving it credit for. Chasson is obviously a big value now, so she's projected to come in around 35%. I just can't get there. I'll probably be somewhere in the 20s, but yeah, it's just tough to get there given she's got kind of a thin path to the optimal despite the pricing. And again, like usually these mid-range fights are great targets because pricing is tighter, but pricing isn't tight on this slate. So I don't really see much of a reason to go there. I much prefer Goff. On the Vieira side, she's going to be probably the lowest owned option in this range. So she's viable from that perspective, but she just has no ceiling. Like she just doesn't produce offense ever. So it's a really tough sell outside of having some contrarian appeal on a short slate. And again, women's MMA, like you never know what you're going to fucking get with women's MMA.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Macy's pretty tough. You see a lot more finishes on her side, whether win or lose, than on the Vieira side, JVC. So she definitely seems like the better DFS play. And I do think she could have some success if she can get Ketlen down and on her back. Because on her back, Macy can start to let those elbows go. She obviously got the cut last time against Bueno Silva. So I do think she could have some offensive wrestling and grappling success if she can get her down. That's just the challenge because Ketlen's going to be the bigger girl.
Well, I don't know that Ketlen's going to be the bigger girl because they moved it up to 145 because Macy wasn't going to make weight. So I think that is actually the reason why the line is moved.
Yeah,
Macy didn't have to cut the way that she would have otherwise. I think that's 100% why the line moved. It's why I'm betting big on Macy. My two biggest bets of the card are 100% based on weight cut issues. So I'm betting Macy and Filio both. So I'm betting Macy big. I don't think that it's going to be a big scoring fight. I'm with Dan that I don't think she's a very potent finisher. I don't think she's going to be able to finish the fight, but she should win with a lot of clinch bullshit. And I really like her pick 6 number. It was 63.5 yesterday. I think that she clears that, but I don't see her getting much more than 70 or 80.
All right, fair enough. So you think she's getting around 73 or 80? Does that get her on the winner? Can that get her on the winner at that price tag? Like her price tag?
Not with Goff there.
Yeah. All right. Interesting enough. How far are you going to be over on Vieira? Are you going to be over, under? Because she's going to be low owned.
I'm at 15 on Vieira and 20 on Macy. So I'm just hard selling Macy mostly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Vieira couldn't make weight. Okay. So yeah,
Macy
this fight, I forgot this fight moved up to one.
They both weren't.
I forgot this fight got moved up though to 145, right? JVC?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Just a quick note. What is this question? A question: which is the lowest price you can get to a fighter? What's the cutoff price?
Play them all.
Play them all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 10-fight card. They're all in play.
They're always all in play. It's cage fighting. Two people stripping down to their underwear and fighting in a cage. Like
I can tell you, I like Asswell the least. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like Dan said, it's still a fight, and both guys go in there trying to, take the other guy's head off. It's like they're all in play. You just gotta, if you're building one or two teams or not as many teams as others, then you're just okay, these are my favorite 4 fighters I have to play. And then you might want to look at 1 or 2 leverage plays. Like Dan was talking about Todorovic as a leverage play because Zachary Reese is going to be so high owned because like JVC said, the salary doesn't matter. So plays like that, that's the way I would build if I have one team. There's okay, the 4 guys I have to play. Who are they? Billy Ray Goff would probably be one, right? JVC, that he's definitely one. So pick the 4 guys you have to play and then find 2 that maybe are a little different or leverage plays off the field that you're, a little uncomfortable with. That's the key.
I think that you play Blanchfield, you play Billy Ray Goff, and then beyond that, you can get creative. Because a lot of more expensive people are, there isn't that much of a difference. Oki and Jacoby have the same inside the distance number. There's not a whole ton of difference there.
Yeah.
Dan, anything else?
I think, if you have one of Todorovic, Arlene, or Brahimaj to start, that's a pretty good start. If you're playing a single entry or something, Brahimaj and Todorovic especially are going to be pretty big leverage off of 2 of the more popular fighters on the slate. So that's you got to just think like that. If you're in a single entry, Reese is probably going to be 70% owned. So you play his opponent who's going to be way less owned. And then you can, stock up on Blanchfield, Oki, Levitt. You can eat a lot of chalk playing some of these guys way down here.
Yep. That's the way I would build. All right, let's get to the next fight here. Dustin Jacoby, 8,800 for Jacoby versus Bruno, is it Lopez? Not sure on that one, but Bruno 7,400 here against Jacoby, and Jacoby sitting at -192. So I think that line's moved a little in his favor. But JBC, what do you like in this matchup here, Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez? I'll go Lopez.
I see it similarly to the Reese fight, where I think that we're going to get a knockout. Jacoby obviously is an elite kickboxer. With +150 inside the distance number at 8,800, as I mentioned a minute ago, it's the same number as Oki. The only 2 people that with a better number are Goff and Reese. I can't get away from playing, 40 for a little over 40% on Jacoby, and then Lopez, similar to Holabot, who down there, they're both +350 inside the distance. I think they're similar plays. So I'm going to play Lopez, between 25 and 30, and I hope we get a knockout.
There we go. Dan, what say you on this fight? Are you kind of with JBC that fight might end inside the distance and Jacoby's your guy?
For sure. I've definitely got durability concerns when it comes to Lopez, but also on the Jacoby side, like he is, he's getting older. He's definitely got some wear and tear. We've seen him getting hurt recently. So while I think Jacoby is obviously miles better on the feet from a technicality standpoint, there's no reason why Lopez can't find Jacoby's chin randomly and, knock him out quickly. He's also got some wrestling upside. He averages about a little over 2.5 takedowns per 15. So that's also on the table for Lopez. Jacoby doesn't offer much wrestling or grappling. Like you said, he's a kickboxer. So Lopez definitely has some paths. I'm with JBC. I think you really do have to play Jacoby for the finishing upside. I'm going to have him slightly less than 40, but I'm also going to have Lopez at probably around like 24% Lopez, which I think is maybe what he's projected at. Yeah, I guess I'll be on Lopez, but I think there's also I think there's a pretty good chance that this fight goes the distance, just because Jacoby is so much better on the feet. It either goes the distance, or I think a late round finish is probably pretty likely. Like I like Jacoby round 3. I think round 2, round 3, just because he is so technical. He doesn't throw a ton of volume, but
it's safe. Yeah.
I could see him just being able to kind of keep it on the outside, pick Lopez apart because he is that much better on the feet. And maybe get to him eventually, just like break him down over time. But I think without an early finish, he's probably dust. So I do have some concerns that the fight goes a little longer. But he's implied 21% to finish this in round 1. So you got to play that, especially on a short slate.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it, Dan. Is like I could see this fight. I could see a late finish by Jacoby or it going to decision. I don't mind the 10-1 in round 3 by KO for Jacoby. I don't mind that as a fun little bet here. But yeah, I'm probably gonna be a little lower than the field on Jacoby just for the fact that I do think it goes a little longer. And if he doesn't get an early first round finish, I don't think the volume's going to be there for Jacoby at that price tag. And I like Oki a little bit better, but
I have to comment on this because I don't know if we've told this story on the show before, but DC was sitting, or he was at a UFC event. I can't remember when it was. This is like 4 or 5 years ago.
He's going to be at this event. He's there. He's going to be there in support of his boy, Dustin Jacoby.
Yeah. So DC, he turns to his buddy that he's sitting with, and he goes, "This guy's a fucking bum. He's about to get knocked the fuck out," talking about Jacoby. And then Jacoby knocks the other guy out, and the woman in front of him turns to him and goes, "Fuck you, that's my husband, suck a dick," and walks off. So Jacoby's wife hates DC. That's the moral of that story.
That's amazing. That's such a draft cheat moment right there. Draft cheats moment. Oh God. I thought draft cheats like girl and Jacoby and his girl or wife are like friends.
Maybe now. I don't know. That's the story that I was told. Dan, you're on mute. Yeah. You're on mute, Dan.
There's there who said that he was gonna get knocked the fuck out. We actually have a picture of Dustin Jacoby's wife flipping.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was me there. That was me there. Got the story wrong. Wrong story. I was gonna say I think DC and his girl are like friends.
Oh, that was me there. Oh, sorry, wife. It wasn't DC. Okay, so DC's friends with Jacoby.
Yeah.
Binaire did this. Okay.
Yeah.
I had it mixed up. My bad.
His wife ripped into me. Oh, I'm surprised she didn't smack you upside your head, Binaire. That's good. I love that. Yeah, I was gonna say, you were telling the story, and I'm like, wait, I know for a fact that DC and his girl are like friends with these people.
Whenever you're at
I mixed those two things up.
Whenever you're at a fight, like talking shit or yelling at a fighter or whatever, they just always remember there's like a non-zero chance that their
like half their family will be there.
Yeah, their friends and family are like sitting
always there.
Aaron Blanchfield, Aaron Blanchfield, who we'll talk about later. Same fucking thing happened to us. We were like,
there's a good chance their friends and family are sitting by you.
Like, what the fuck?
And even there's also a good chance that those friends and family can beat your fucking ass.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so DC will be at the fight today. So look for old DC at the fight, cheering on his boy Jacoby here. So all right.
Being here, got in contact with her afterward.
Jesus. All right. We're all in Jacoby here. Let's go to the next fight. We got Billy Ray Goff, 8,300 for Goff on DraftKings, taking on Brahimaz, 6,700 for Brahimaz here. And the line for this fight being 8,300, 6,700. Billy Ray Goff is minus 375. So, JBC, you've been talking about Goff kind of on and off throughout the show. He does seem like the clear, easy spot here. I will say, the way he fights, it's good for the opponent, no matter who the opponent is, too, because that dude goes out there and he just moves forward. He does not care who's in front of him. He just moves forward and he goes to war. So what are you doing with this fight from a DFS perspective?
Well, the issue is it dictates everything else you do. Like, you're getting a minus 400 with a minus 125 inside the distance number for 8,300 because of the late notice on Brian Mine. So it's tough not to play Goff. There are only so many combos. So for me, playing 150, I'm getting like 55 to 60% on Goff. If you're playing 20, you should probably lock him. Brian Mine obviously has finishing upside because of Goff being so reckless. So I'm playing him like a good amount. But yeah, I think you want to be almost all in on this fight. I think 20 to 25% on Brahimai, and then 60 and up on Goff is probably where to go.
Yeah, I think this fight is going to be optimal. So and both guys, like Brahimaz is not like he's not like a straight bum either. Like he's got some finishing.
The line was shocking to me. It seems really wide.
It seems really wide, and I do like Goff. Like Goff's a dog. Like he's a tough dude. He's not going to be easy to just get out of there. Brahimaz got a ton of grappling upside. You know, he is one of those fighters that, and he won his last fight by KO. So like he showed a little power in his last fight. We know the submission upside is there for him as well. So yeah, I think this fight's awesome. I think you want one of these fighters on this card. Like I just, whether I was playing like 50 lineups, 150, it's going to be a tough spot for me not to just shove this fight. Dan?
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys completely. Goff, majorly mispriced. Got to play him. Brahimaj. Goff is just reckless. He's super aggressive, and he's the prototype for the type of guy that you want to target both sides of his fights. It's really
it makes sense. So, are you guys betting anything here? Did you bet like Goff by KO or Brahimaj?
I bet Brahimaj.
You bet Brahimaj? Yeah. I thought his sub number seemed a little high too. Just the style in which Billy Ray Goff fights, like, because he's so kind of all over the place and wild. Yeah, he'll just like get caught in bad spots. Like Trey Waters had him for a second in like a submission where I was like, how the hell did this happen? He was like beating him up 1 minute, and then all of a sudden Trey Waters had his neck. And I was like, what is going on here? But that's just the way Billy Ray Goff fights. He's going to go to war.
Anybody named Billy Ray, they're going to be a little reckless.
They're going to be reckless. Dude, that guy probably is reckless in everything he does in life. Like just straight reckless. Love that though. Absolutely love it. All right. So we're all high on this fight. We're definitely going to be loading up on this fight. Not a ton else to touch on. The line is definitely wide. Like the from a betting angle, you know, like you can't do nothing with minus 400 or whatever.
With the mispriced in DFS, you're kind of stuck too. So
right, exactly. But that's why I'm saying though, because price, like, and it's only a 10 fight card, like I would still definitely want some Brahimaz. Like definitely get some Brahimaz. Yep. All right, 2 fights left on the card here. Let's go.
The one good fight, we've gotten to it.
We finally got to it. We got Gamrot here, 8,500 for Gamrot versus Ludwig Klein, 7,700 for Klein. All right. So what are we doing here with this fight? Obviously, Gamrot's got the massive upside from a takedown perspective. Klein's got a really good takedown defense, but also the argument is Klein hasn't really fought anyone that's close to what he's going to see from Gamrot. JBC, what are you doing with this fight?
So I bet on Gamrot, but I'm not that confident in his DFS scoring ability because he's usually got a significant strength advantage due to, being on the gas. And the issue there is Klein is also on the gas. So he's not going to be able to just fucking overpower him like he usually does with people. So for DFS, I think Klein is the better play, even though I'm betting on Gamrot, because he's the one with hands. He's the one that could fucking flatline him. Gamrot would have to completely dominate the fight to score anywhere near what Goff probably scores. And Goff is cheaper. I just don't have a ton of interest in DFS and Gamrot. I'm only playing him like 20%. Klein, I'm playing in the 30s. But I bet on Gamrot. So I know that's going to be
Gamrot dropped in every fight. Yeah, he does get dropped, but he also finds a way to recover really fast too. So that
steroids are how you recover fast.
And I will say in that last fight against Dan Hooker, yes, he lost that fight, but he also did I felt like in that fight, he definitely accepted more of those like car crashes with Dan Hooker than I think anyone thought. And it might have been because
think Dana told him to do that. I think that Dana
might have been because he heard all the chatter with the UFC, and you still hear it with guys. You still hear guys saying like, "I don't want to fight him. That's a boring fight, or that's not a fun fight." Like those guys at the top, no one wanted to fight him.
Look at how fast that Sarukian got shot to the top when he lost to Gamrot, and Gamrot got nothing.
Correct. Yeah, and the only reason why Sarukian's back down because he screwed Dana pulling out of that fight, right? But like that's a good point. And so now he has to fight someone below him, obviously, because no one else around him wants to fight. So he's got to fight Klein, who's a good fighter. You know what I mean?
I love Klein. His promos are good too.
Yeah, but like look at who Klein's fought and then put it up to Gamrot, and you're like, okay, like there's a difference.
It's definitely a fuck around, find out situation for Klein today.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Dan, what are you doing with this fight here? Are you betting Gamrot? Are you heavier on Klein and DFS? What are you doing?
I won't be betting Gamrot. I will be heavier on Klein for the reasons that JBC brought up. I have like pretty big concerns about Gamrot's durability and his cardio at this stage. He's 34. He's definitely got some wear and tear going on. I think his best days are behind him, and we've seen him slow down in later rounds. So, like JBC said, Gamrot is going to need to dominate for full 3 rounds probably to score well enough on this slate. And I just don't really see that happening. And like you mentioned, Klein's takedown defense, even though it hasn't really been tested all that much by too much, it hasn't been tested by any high level competition, but it's looked solid so far. And I think if Klein can like simply outlast Gamrot's wrestling onslaught in the early going, maybe like the first half of the fight, then he can start to take over in the later going and probably get a later round finish, which at 7,700 is a little bit sketchy, but it could contend for the optimal.
1 second, I'm going to bring up a comment. Oki isn't a good fighter acting like he's some KO king as well. Your number one problem here is you shouldn't be considering Oki. You got to be considering who he's fighting. Who they're against is way more important than who they are. That's like rule number one.
Yeah, Matt's
fighting sucks.
Yeah. That's all is not good. And the key with him is he's not even like he's not like a super dangerous guy, which is going to like slow Oki down. He doesn't throw takedowns, like I said, which again, like mixed martial arts, like if you're just standing there and boxing, like that makes it easier for the opponent because now you don't have to worry about all the other shit that they could do because they don't really do it. So I agree with JBC. It's not Oki's a knockout artist. That's not it. It's more about who he's fighting than, Oki's just this KO, king.
Right. It's like you throw Dan in the cage with Oki, he's getting knocked out like real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you throw any of us in the cage with Oki and we're getting knocked out he's going to look at us and just run through us really fast. Like there's no
it's like
empty
you saw the
pressure.
video
Like,
where O'Malley posted where it was like one of his buddies was like, how long would it take you to choke me out? And O'Malley's like 10 seconds or less. And the guy's like, let's try it. And then he had him down and out within it was like 3 or 4 seconds.
I could maybe be competitive with a UFC fighter if you gave me a gun.
Competitive. I don't know that you would win, but you would.
That just went really extreme, really fast. Dan's like, yeah, give me a gun, and then I might be competitive. But other than that,
maybe.
Nah. Yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do? I think no matter what, everyone's looking at the opponent and pretty much sizing them up. They look at us in 3 seconds, size us, and then kill us in 3 seconds. So
I knew he was gonna say this.
I would last more than 10 seconds. Be there. You got zero chance of lasting more than 10 seconds.
Said he'd immediately take his shorts off.
Oh my God. By the way, did you guys see that Derek Lewis? This just made me think about it. That Derek Lewis video. I don't know who he was talking to. Was it Anik? I can't remember. He was talking about like fucking guys calling him out and like what he's got to do to stop that. Did you guys see that?
No.
He was like, I might have to put a finger up some dude's ass to stop him from calling me out. Like, I was like, what the fuck? JBC, you didn't see this video?
Little thumb up the butt. Yeah.
You didn't see this video? The guy was like, wait, so in your next fight, like when if you knock him out, like you're going to do it? And he's like, I don't know. I might have to think about it.
Paulo Costa shit.
Remember when Derek Lewis came out and said he was gonna like stop with all the shenanigans so he could be a better role model to his kids? Bro,
I thought it was one of those. Like, bro, at first I thought it was one of those like fake videos. You know what I mean? I thought I was getting like punked. I was like, this has to be like AI generated fake video. No way. It was not. It was real. I couldn't believe it. Someone posted it in our Discord too, JVC. You just got to scroll up a little bit. I couldn't believe it. He said it like multiple times too. He was okay.
I mean, if you want to get a guy off, you should.
I mean, shit, guys will stop calling you out, period, if you start doing that after you KO people. I'll tell you that right now. All right, that's Gamrot Klein. I think we touched on most of it here. I honestly, just to give my quick thoughts on this, I do think that this fight could be a more boring style fight for DFS. I could see, like the winner scoring like 65-70, which is not going to get it done. I don't think either way. Maybe Klein, depending on the card, if he was the one that scored 70, but I doubt it. So I don't love the fight for DFS. I do think that Klein's not going to have any wrestling upside here against Gamrot, which in a lot of his fights, if you notice it, he's had wrestling. He's kind of like built that into his game a little bit in his recent fights, kind of. And he's just not gonna like. I don't see him wrestling Gamrot. Like I don't see him out scrambling Gamrot. He's gonna throw.
Probably needs an early finish. He probably needs an early finish.
Well, he said the same thing about Dan Hooker though, and he fucking won a decision.
Yeah, that's true. He could win a decision, right? You stop the takedowns early, like the first round and a half. You're stuffing takedowns, and then you kind of
wins a decision. He's scoring like 50.
That's what I'm saying, though. I think both guys in a decision are scoring like 50 to 60.
Well, Gamrot could get a lot if he dominates.
Could, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, Klein probably needs the early knockout to be like viable for fantasy. Because the more I think about it, you're right. Like a late knockout, if he's spending the whole first half of the fight defending takedowns, not racking up any stats, then
which he's going to be, right? Like I just
Gamrot is gonna test him. I mean,
yeah. Maybe he'll slug it out with them a little bit more, like he did with Dan. I
want to see it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, if he does that, Klein is way more live. Like way more live if you think he slugs it out. For sure.
I think he's gonna slug it out.
So yeah, then I can see liking Klein here. All right. Last fight on the card. We've got Aaron Blanchfield, 9,100 on DraftKings, minus 235-ish on DK Sportsbook right now versus Macy Barber. Macy Barber, 7,100 on DK right now. What is she sitting here? Plus 200. Aaron Blanchfield up to minus 245. What are we doing with this fight? Macy Barber did miss weight. I think it was just a pound, maybe something like that. But, again, that last inch effort to get that last, that's like the toughest. And she already kind of looked drained. I don't know if you guys saw her on the scales.
She looked bad.
She looked bad on the scale.
And she's coming off a long layoff.
Yeah. This screams Aaron all day. Like, I don't think Macy Barber's going to stuff takedowns when Aaron gets a hold of her. I think she's going to the ground, and then she's going to be in big trouble when she gets to the ground. If Macy could keep it on the feet for all the rounds, I think she'd have more success. I just don't see that being the case. I got Aaron, and I bet her by submission at plus 350 on DraftKings. JBC, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, this is a constant theme on this card. The weigh-in yesterday mattered more than any kind of other analysis. Macy looks terrible. She only missed by a half pound, so clearly she tried as hard as she could. And then when they offered her a chance to cut the extra half pound, she just ate the money and didn't do it. Yeah. So clearly she was struggling hard as fuck. She looked emaciated for how she usually looks. And then the line immediately moved like 50 cents toward Blanchfield. I'm playing like 70% Blanchfield. I think that she's probably going to be optimal, and I like her.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like her too. I think that she's, probably going to be optimal here in this spot at 9,100. I assume you like her to find a finish, JBC.
She doesn't really have a ton of power, so it's like she may be a little hard pressed to put her out, but the weight miss definitely makes it 100 times more likely than I would have said otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, I do think the 2 fights ago against Mannon, after watching Mannon against Valentina, it kind of makes the loss look a little better because you saw how hard it was for Valentina to get Mannon down. Like after that first round where she beat her up, she tried and it wasn't happening. And then it was Mannon throwing takedowns. So the fact that Aaron survived Mannon, it kind of made me feel better about that fight. Cause obviously she didn't look great, but I was like, why isn't she trying harder to get takedowns? But she probably knew she wasn't going to get them. Strength disadvantage. She knew she wasn't going to get them. I don't see that being the case in this fight. So I think she's going to be more aggressive trying to get her to the ground in this spot. So that's why I think a finish is more likely on the ground for her. But Dan, what do you think with this fight?
Yeah, I'm playing this in 100% of my lineups. I'm doing the same thing as JBC. 70-30, Blanchfield, 70% to win, Macy, 30% to win. It's easy, man. I don't see how the winner of this fight is not optimal outside of some kind of fluke shit. Maybe a early third round sub or something. I mean, even that would probably be fine for Blanchfield. I'm jamming this fight. 5-round fights are back. They're back. They've been optimal last few slates, so no reason to shy away from it now. I just want to Tanner Bodden saying, as well as no bum, most probably haven't watched regional footage. I mean, you can watch the regional footage, but he's fighting other bums. So
yeah, he's fighting like me.
Yeah, I mean,
crushing fans. Oh God, he's so good.
Doesn't really tell me all that much, especially when he's super short notice going up a weight class. That is really kind of
Did anyone watch his last fight? Literally his last fight, not the Dana White Contender Series fight. The last fight he just had against a dude who was on the Contender Series, lost on the Contender Series, Ramos. He won a split decision, and it was super close. And Ramos is not good. He's not dangerous. Throws pillows, kind of like Aswell. But Aswell, he when he was moving forward, he was good. When Ramos said, fuck that, I'm just going to move forward and eat his shots and move forward, he looked bad. So that's kind of what we're saying. I can watch his regional footage. It's going to show me the exact same thing I already know about him, which is He wants to volume you up. He wants to tire you out and then put it on you later in fights. I just don't think he's going to get Oki to the point where he's exhausted and tired in the third round to where then Oki's missing big and he's just kind of jabbing him up, piecing him up on the feet. Like, I think Oki's going to be defensively sound on the feet, and he's just going to wait and find that big shot to put him down. Maybe not out, but down.
He's going to be so much more physical. And like sometimes sometimes it's simple in a fight. It's like, who's going to be the bigger, stronger guy in a fist fight?
Like the Bogdan-Grad fight was perfect fight for him to win. He lost that fight too because Bogdan-Grad fights with his hands down. He literally fights with his hands down. He doesn't move his head and he moves forward. So why is that perfect? Because a guy who throws straight 1-2s, they're just going to hit you every single time because you're not moving your head. So it's straight every single time. And that's all he was throwing. He was hitting them, but Bogdan-Grad was just throwing bigger than him, and he was mixing in more of the mixed martial arts that Aswell was not mixing in. So that's why I don't like him, even in good matchups for him where he should win. And he was a favorite against Bogdan-Grad too. So that goes to Tanner's point, which is, hey, maybe we're saying he's not a bum. He's not a bum, but this is just a mismatch probably for him. Like, he should have won that fight against Grad, and he lost it. In my opinion, just because he didn't mix in more of the other shit you should mix in a mixed martial arts fight. He just threw 1-2s. So that's that. Enough talk on him. We talked about him all show. Hope you guys enjoyed all 10 fights, talking almost an hour and 10 minutes here. Let's get a pick six going. I didn't forget. Let's get a pick six going before we get out of here. And then we'll, let me just pull it up real quick here, and I gotta move this. All right, here. All right, pick six here. JBC, I know you already had one that you were high on. Do you want to give that one out as the first one?
I had several.
That looked clean.
I'm trying to remember which one you're referring to. Oh, that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, you said it earlier in the show. You were like, I really like this pick six, but I forgot which one you said. So we got significant strikes here, fight time, takedowns, fantasy points.
Trying to remember which one I said. Holy shit.
It was like 60 something. I forget.
Oh, Macy Chiasson over 63.5 fantasy points.
I knew it. See, look at that. I knew it. All right. Let's see here. Who do I like? Damn, can't give me unders. I wanted to go under on Arlene just for Dan. Damn it. Who do I want to go? I'm gonna go over on Dos Santos. I think she finds a finish here. Over on fantasy points for Dos Santos. Dan, do you like fantasy points, or do you want me to move to a different category?
I kind of like over fantasy points for Oki.
Over on Oki. Okay, let's move to a different category. We got takedowns. Jordan Levitt. Oh, do we think he gets over 2.5 takedowns?
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, if Hollabach can get up. Or is he take him down to start each round?
One per round. I like that. One per round.
Oh, I got a good one. Alan Nascimento under 75.5 fantasy points.
Like that.
Less. Yeah.
Less. Let's see, we got fight time. Oh, they're not giving us the less on the fight times.
There's not a lot of options on this card because of how small it is.
Yeah, no, I know. Control time. No, let's just go back to fantasy points here. Let's get another fantasy point.
Blanchfield 96.5.
Do we think she goes over that?
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
it finish or decision. I think she's over that.
So what we got here? That's all 6 right there. Look at that. Bang. Macy Chiasson over 63.5 fantasy points. Dos Santos over 79.5 fantasy points. Oki over 76.5 fantasy points. Jordan Levitt over 2.5 takedowns. Alan Nascimento under 75.5 fantasy points, and Aaron Blanchfield over 96.5 fantasy points there. Bang, that's our pick 6. I'm going to screenshot that, and I will post it for the people. Bang. That, and boom. All right, let's give a best bet before we get out of here. Any bet you guys want on the card. Dan, you got a best bet for the people?
Yeah, I'm going to take Philo money line.
Love that. JBC, favorite bet?
Chiasson money line.
Chiasson money line. I'm going to go with Aaron Blanchfield by submission plus 350. That's going to do it for this show. Thanks for joining us. Check us out at runpuresports.com, RPS 15 if you want to join us for all the bets, all the picks for UFC, MLB, soccer. We got every single sport covered for you guys.
Champions League final going on right now.
Champions League final. There we go. Champions League final. Come check it out. We got you covered. College baseball. I mean, like literally everything. We got it.
Get
over to Run Pure Sports. Baseball. Yeah, seriously. Gavin, I know he's been posting the winners for us. Get over to Run Pure Sports, RPS 15. Use that promo code. Get 15% off. Get the core plays. We got to get the showdown content up for tonight's game 6. Go Pacers. Let's cash those Pacers tickets tonight for JBC, Dan, and myself, JSU. Good luck in your DFS and bets over on DraftKings DK Sportsbook. Till next week, we're out of here. Peace.